I don't normally do single topic videos, but I feel like this one deserves it. Let me start off by saying that I know the only reason people are pissed off that The Rock is WWE Champion is because he beat CM Punk for the belt. That's the only reason, and I know no one's actually going to admit that. They're going to cling on to whatever little arguments they have against The Rock, but in the end we all know that the only reason they have a problem with it is because it was CM Punk. CM Punk fans have all these arguments and complaints against The Rock that he doesn't deserve to be champion because he's never there, he's a part-timer, he's a movie star, he left wrestling for a long time, etc, etc. What I'm wondering is, where were all these complaints last year? Why is it that last year, when he was facing John Cena, at a time where all these arguments were still true, why was it that people were actually hoping that The Rock would beat John Cena? So why was it that when Cena lost to The Rock, no one complained how bad for business that was? In fact, people celebrated that win. Even the very small amount of people that did have a problem with The Rock not passing the torch were celebrating the fact that Cena finally lost a match. Why? The Rock is a movie star, he's a part-timer, he should only be there to put people over. Aren't those your arguments now? So why didn't any of that matter last year? Because it wasn't CM Punk. It was someone that you hated, and therefore none of your arguments that you're using right now were valid. The thing is, you may have a point about The Rock not being there often and yada yada yada, blah blah blah, but that's only a point that you care about when it applies against one of your favorites. I already know the counter-argument people have is, oh, you can't compare Cena to Punk. Cena winning does nothing for the business. Punk needs to win everything and be the face of the company. For starters, your arguments to defend CM Punk is that he's there week in, week out, doing all this stuff for the company, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? Cena does that too, and he does more of that. Secondly, you want to talk about doing nothing for the business in the long run? John Cena is going to be there a lot longer than CM Punk. CM Punk said himself that he plans on retiring very soon. In fact, his contract is going to expire later this year. Now, he might resign, we don't know that, but the fact is, he's only going to be there at most a couple more years. So, if you want to talk about long-term business plans, how will it benefit WWE to push a guy that they know isn't going to be there much longer? The complaint a lot of CM Punk fans use is, his title reign is historic. It should only be ended by someone who needs it. Let's start off by explaining why that point is invalid. If it had been Randy Orton, Sheamus, Ryback, and especially if it had been John Cena that held on to the title for as long as Punk did, you would have bitched and complained about how badly they need to lose the title and how sick you are of seeing them with the belt. Look at John Cena's title reign in 2007. Look at Sheamus' reign last year. Those were the exact same complaints everyone was making. You wouldn't be saying how historic their title reign is and how it should be booked to perfection. You wouldn't have cared if it was The Rock or Stone Cold or Mae Young, for that matter, that ended any of their reigns, just as long as someone did. Hell, I remember back when Cena was champion, people didn't even care if it was the Great Khali that ended his reign. So don't try and pull that bullshit excuse again. That's only a detail that you care about when it applies against one of your favorites. Now, let's look at the facts. For one, if it wasn't The Rock, it would have been John Cena that ended Punk's reign. And from what I recall, absolutely no one wanted that to happen. Why? I mean, the complaint you have against The Rock is he's never there and Punk should drop the belt to an actual superstar. Cena is an actual superstar. Or wait, by actual superstar, did you mean an up-and-coming guy? Like Ryback? Oh, no, of course you didn't mean that because you complained about that too. I already know what the argument really means when they say Punk's reign should only be ended by someone who is worthy. The only people that deserve to end Punk's reign are Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, and Cody Rhodes because I'm an internet mark, and the only time I care about the way superstars are booked is when it's someone other than these guys, because I don't care if they get jobbed out to Tyson Kidd for 2 years. They'll always be worthy of a world title, no matter how badly they're booked. But if they push anyone else, oh, it's too soon, or they haven't done enough to earn it, or blah, 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 blah. You know, that's the standard. When people say they want someone fresh in the main event scene, they're only talking about 4 people. Secondly, the only reason Punk held on to the belt for that long was because of The Rock. WWE knew from the beginning that The Rock would beat CM Punk for the title at the Royal Rumble. That's why Punk held on to the title for that long. Or hell, even if The Rock decided he was done after WrestleMania 28 and wasn't going to wrestle anymore, you can bet Punk's reign would have ended a whole hell of a lot sooner than that. So for you to use this historic title reign argument is ridiculous when the only reason he had the reign in the first place was because of The Rock. And here's another big example, Brock Lesnar. the exact same arguments, you have toward The Rock apply just as much, if not more, to Brock Lesnar. Yet I guarantee you, absolutely no one would have a problem if Brock Lesnar were to win the WWE Championship again. In fact, people would mark out if he did. Why? Because it's Brock Lesnar. Is there any difference between him and The Rock at this point?
Nope.
Is there any reason why he deserves the title more than The Rock?
Nope.
So what's the excuse people are going to use to defend Brock Lesnar over The Rock? There is none, because they don't need one. That's the way the internet works. It's a predictable mentality, which is why it doesn't surprise me. You can easily predict what the internet will think of something years before it happens, because everyone in the IWC is the same. Let me give you a similar scenario that the internet would have loved if it were to happen. Put it this way, say it was John Cena that The Rock beat for the title at the Rumble, and he was going to drop it to CM Punk at WrestleMania. I guarantee you, absolutely no one would have a problem with The Rock holding the belt then, because he was going to put over one of your favorites. And you know what? I can understand that point. In fact, I sort of agree with that point. But don't try and use all these other bullshit excuses that you wouldn't have otherwise used in a similar situation. But hey, if you truly believe what you're saying about The Rock, that his time has passed and he never deserved to be champion and he sucks, then you should be cheering for John Cena at WrestleMania. You should beg WWE to let Cena beat The Rock. It doesn't matter whether you love Cena or hate him, the point is, you say The Rock should have never won the belt. So why would you be against the idea of him losing it to someone who's going to be there every single week? I already know the real answer because you hate John Cena, Cena doesn't need it, blah 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 blah. That's all you can say. You can't think of a legit answer to that question other than that you want it to be CM Punk. The only reason you have a problem with The Rock being champion is because 1, he beat CM Punk for the title, 2, he's going to drop it to John Cena at WrestleMania, and 3, because in the end, this doesn't benefit someone that you personally like. And that's fine, you like CM Punk more than The Rock, alright. Just say that. Don't try and hide behind all these other bullshit excuses that you know you don't really give a damn about, because all that does is make you look like a desperate mark, because that's what they are, and that's never going to change. It has been MTO with the MTOmarReviews, saying yada yada yada, blah blah blah, the end.